North Carolina. I guess I'm excited. I don't know. On my way home from a trip to Walt Disney World. How long did you stay there? 5 days? 7 days? 10 days? Let's see. I think it was like 7 months. 7 months. I moved to Orlando, Florida in early January. And on August 4th, I moved out. August 1st, I moved out. I stayed, stuck around until the 4th because I refused to leave. I was an employee of the Walt Disney Company. I was an intern on the college program. I am recording a video on my cell phone. It's perched in my car. I like to reflect a lot while I'm driving. I talk to myself, basically. It usually allows me to have some insight. So, my plan is to just do a little reflecting on my Disney college program, and I mean, I've given it some thought, but people come out and they put on their blogs, like, it's changed me fundamentally as a person, and I haven't taken any time to think, have I fundamentally changed as a person? I've been told that I have, but I haven't decided for myself. I guess, why did I do the Disney College program? Honest to goodness, it was on a whim. It was a quick decision. It's my junior year. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it now because I don't want to leave during my senior year. Like, I applied on, let's say, like a Tuesday afternoon. And it was done with my phone interview the next morning. The entire process. I got in, I remember, on October 1st, which is Walt Disney World's birthday. Not Walt Disney, but Walt Disney World Resort. Opened on October 1st, 1971. I did meet my roommates online. I wasn't worried about it. But I just started talking to some people. And, oh, we should live together. It was good. It worked out well. I wanted to get away from school for a while. I think almost everyone there feels the same way. I'm a biology major. I wanted to stop doing biology for a semester. And I applied for the spring program. And it's like, well, you can do a spring advantage program and stay through the summer. And I scoffed and was like, there's no way I would stay through the summer. Why would I want? The Disney World is so busy in the summer. It's hot in the summer. I'm going to get my butt out of there before summer starts. Ha ha ha. It's exactly what I didn't do. I stayed through the summer. And it's funny, and I have another friend who extended who agrees with me. It's like my spring program and this past summer were two totally separate things. I've had a lot of fun. At first, I was going in parks every day. I went months where I would go in a park every day. Usually it was just for work, but on my days off, I would absolutely go to a park. And when people who had like done programs before, or people who had been there longer, heard me say that, they're like, seriously? You go to the parks on your days off? I'm like, yeah. When else? I mean, I have to work the other days. Like, I want to go to the parks. And then some people stay like that their entire program, and they do a bunch of stuff. But people like me start like that and have lots of fun, and then kind of just fall into the work routine and go have fun. Like, a fair amount, but not every single day. So, the job that I wanted to do, I wanted to be, more than anything, a character attendant and work with the character performers. My second choice was attractions. Because when I, when people think of Disney World, they think of characters and rides, and I think I wanted to, it's vain, I guess, but I wanted to be a part of that, like, glory. Like, I wanted to be, I worked at Walt Disney World, and instead of being like, I'm gonna belittle someone now, this is rude, I worked the front desk at a hotel. It's actually a sweet job, okay? But people are like, oh, like, you could do that anywhere. And the truth is, you could work at a ride at a theme park anywhere, but these are just famous rides that people know. And I wanted like a wow factor. I like to have stories to tell. That's important to me. outdoors, definitely. And it's funny because I would always say, I love Tomorrowland, but I don't care about that Speedway. I don't know why it's in Tomorrowland. Well, I said Tomorrowland and I said outdoors, and I got exactly what I asked for. A lot of people don't get what they request, but they catered to my specific request. Speedway is the one, like everywhere else in Tomorrowland, they all kind of know each other. They wear the same costume. They all work at the different areas. But like Speedway is like the redheaded stepchild. It is, and it's a hard place to work. You got to work outside. You got to work with the gas fumes. But when I got over there, they said to me, they're like, you know what? This is not the most popular ride by any means. Even though this is like not a cool ride, it's a great place to be. It's the people who work there, the cast members at that location, all get along together. It's like a big Speedway family, and they told me that, and I didn't doubt them, but I was just like, okay, yeah. And it's so true. It's so incredibly true. And our group of CPs especially just totally matched. We're the best group of CPs that Tomorrowland Speedway has ever seen. Try to fight me on that because it's true. It's so true. I loved my work location. I absolutely loved my work location. Working at the ride is easy. Even, I mean, it's hot. You have to work outside. You're sweaty and gritty. It's funny when you run into a buzz person or a space person or a stitch person in the tunnels, because they're just like, have their hair done and their makeup on, and they're leaving, they're going home, and they look great. And we're all just like, probably got rained on that day. We're just like, let's go. Love it though. Absolutely love it. And it's fun because they're little kids who are so excited, and you see them come back over and over throughout the day, and you can just tell they absolutely love it, and you get to be a part of that. Just want to think about how the program personally affected me, and the first thing that comes to mind is you just get to meet all sorts of people in the, like, as guests and as fellow cast members. It's total new exposure. And I myself, you know, I haven't been out of the Southeast. I've lived in North Carolina for all but the first year of my life. So if someone's going to travel from out of the country to go to a Disney park, it will likely be ours. And we're taught that. We know, hear about, oh, the tour groups from Brazil, they're so crazy. Kind of. You learn, I remember one of the first things that I learned about myself early on was like, it's okay to try to speak Spanish to someone. So like I learned Spanish, but I was way better at it when I was studying it, and you know, I had never attempted a Spanish conversation with anybody, and I wouldn't call what I do now conversations, but it's just at first when a guest starts speaking Spanish to you, you're like, I don't speak Spanish, but then you learn, like, I can try. If they say, do you speak Spanish? You say, speak a little bit, and you try to like forge an understanding. So that, I think, is something that changed about me, working with people from foreign countries, learning to communicate with them. And even just, you know, the Americans you meet, it's just, you get to see lots of variations on the American family. You know, it wasn't just a bunch of nuclear, one race, you know, husband, wife, two kid families. There was, you know, same-sex couples with children, interracial couples, international couples, single parents, you know, these living with the grandparents, huge families, small families, and just, it kind of gives you an appreciation for, and, you know, it's stuff that you see at home in North Carolina, but just, there's a lot more diversity at the Walt Disney World Resort, and even just the cast members that you work with. I have a best friend now from England, a best friend in New Zealand, a best friend from Australia, and it's like, how cool is that? And now I have people who are like, if you're ever in Australia, let's be vague, if you're ever in Australia, just come find me, you know. If you're ever in England, you have a place to stay. Just like, that's the nicest stuff. And it's so cool. And I've met people from other countries, but I haven't been able to, you know, create really like lasting bonds with them. Speaking of which, you know, I read about the program, like, oh, you're gonna make the best friends of your life, but like, I'm not super social. I love to talk a lot, but I don't have a lot of people who like first day they're working with you, and you're like, who the hell is that? I remember more than one person being like, I met, my wonderfully close friend Tom from England, and we actually trained at the same time, and I was like, this kid wants nothing to do with this. He so does not want to be here. You can tell, like, he will probably never speak to me, and my heart beats for Tom. I don't know. I think I've learned to have a wider range of acceptance for people. Not that I was ever, like, outwardly mean to people, but you just kind of quietly judge people who are different from you. And then I just got a chance to meet a lot of people who are different from me and be like, oh, wait, these are people are fine. They're actually wonderful. And I wish that I could spend every day with them. I think I've learned a little bit more about working for, like, a big corporation. The Disney company, of course, is huge. And I learned, I think, I wasn't worried about, like, professionalism or anything, because I'm a decently well-behaved person, but kind of speaking up for myself and not being afraid to approach a manager or a second manager. Because I had a great experience, but here and there were some confusing things, and I think in the past I might have just kept quiet. And I didn't by any means, like, put up a fight, but just kind of just looked into things and like, hey, can you tell me why this is? And just, keeping up the professionalism while also being able to speak for yourself. I don't know, something about that. I don't know how lasting that'll be. I don't know if I'm ever going to work for a big corporation, but I learned what it felt like to be, the smallest of the small, bottom of the barrel. Like, the Walt Disney Company is incredibly huge. The Walt Disney World Resort is, like, the largest single-site employer in the country or something. There's 66,000 people who work at that one place in Orlando, Florida. So you're definitely a number. That's not to say that you don't have, like, personal relationships, but I did learn what it feels like to not always be incredibly valued, and I feel like that sounds like I had a really negative experience, and I didn't, but there was a time or two when, like, I had a question or concern and didn't get an answer right away, or I felt like the other party wasn't as concerned as I was, and that was, like, confusing to me. And I'm big on, like, staying humble and knowing your place. I would never want to demand anything that I don't deserve, but did definitely learn what it feels like to be the bottom of the barrel. And going into it, you're an intern. And college program participants, CPs at Walt Disney World, no, like, they have a reputation, like, you are kind of scum. You're not treated poorly, but, like, you have the latest shifts. Just little that you make the least, little stuff like that. But you're generally not totally aware. You work with part-time and full-time people, and they don't, like, kick you. There's a time or two when I was made very aware that I was not necessarily valued 100% of the time. So, what kind of stuff did I get to do on the Disney College program? Great question. You're really fortunate. You do have a lot of opportunities open to you. That's not a myth. It's funny to me, though, because, and I shouldn't judge people, but I do. It's traditional if you're on the internet getting ready for your college program. People make bucket lists, and some of them are cool, but for the most part, I think a lot of them are all the same thing. Everyone wants to do the same stuff because they read it on someone else's bucket list. They're going to go to all 4 parks in one day. Like, yeah, no, I did that. That's cool. It's just like you don't need to, like, post it on the internet. It's basically like, I want to do the Disney College program. Like, people, I love it. Some of these bucket lists that I used to read, like, take a picture in front of each park icon. And it's like, well, yeah, you're going to get a picture. That's like, I just feel like that's the same as saying, go to each park. Like, of course you're going to get a picture. Well, ride the monorail. Of course you're going to ride the monorail. You can't not. You can. Actually, I don't like riding the monorail. I try to avoid it. Or I used to, because I don't live in Disney World anymore. But anyway, no, that's me. not going to get paid, but if you want to go ride a ride 100 times while a helicopter flies over and films you, then reply to this email. And I did, and it was like you had to show up at 4 in the morning. The thing was, the new ride, the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, no one had been able to ride it yet. But there was a chance that you would get to ride it at this filming, which is why everyone went. I did not get picked to ride the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I got picked to ride Goofy's Barnstormer, represent. I rode it 74 times in a row over the course of a couple hours. By the end, I did not want to ride it anymore. I have not ridden it since. I don't have any plans to ride it in the future. But it was a fun experience. Not who can say that they rode a roller coaster 75 times in a row. 74. Speaking of the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, I did get to ride it before it was open to the public. I got to ride it as part of the cast member preview. That was really cool. I had like no idea that that was going to happen. It's a really neat ride. They did a lot of cool stuff. So I did get to go on a behind the scenes tour, and they do several. The first one I heard about was Everest. I didn't go to that one. There was a Splash Mountain something. I didn't do that either. The roads are bumpy in South Carolina. I got into the Haunted Mansion tour, and so I got to go, oh my gosh, everywhere. I got to touch so much stuff. I got to go in the big ballroom, which is my favorite scene. We're down, you know, I touched the plates on the table, and I touched the organ that the ghost plays. I got to see the animatronics and how the magic works, how it shows up, the ghost. So incredibly cool. Such a unique experience. I was really happy that I got to do that. They closed the water park, Typhoon Lagoon, and reopened it just for us. And we had several hours where all I did was swim in the wave pool and dance on the beach because there was a DJ. But apparently there you could have like swam with the sharks and like did some other things. I didn't. I did go to Blizzard Beach just like normally before. They have it free to cast members during kind of off season. Then once it gets busy, no more. So I got to hit both water parks. Hold on, I have to take a picture of this truck in front of me. Other things I got to do, I got to take advantage of Disney discounts. When we got there, it was still a holiday discount, which is 40% off merchandise, which is wonderful up until Valentine's Day, and then 20% off for the rest of the time. I love to take my paychecks and just return them to the company in exchange for things like Tomorrowland t-shirts and cool Walt Disney World ball caps and so many other things, including pins. So many pins. I got to get cast exclusive pins, which are my favorite types of pins. Here's one. Woo! Look at that partner statue in front of the Walt Disney World logo. So cool. Cast exclusive. We were here for what? We were here for 25th anniversary of Hollywood Studios, 50th anniversary of It's a Small World and Carousel of Progress, 15th anniversary of Rock and Roller Coaster, something like the 20th for the Tower of Terror, the opening of the Mine Train. Just like, there was a lot of like commemorative things going on while we were here, and that was really cool. Also, this is not Disney related, so cover your ears, but Diagon Alley opened at Universal, and it was breathtaking, wonderful. I wish that I could go. Right now, I'm kind of at the critical point. I'm more than halfway, but I just crossed into South Carolina, and part of me just wants to turn around and go back. And it's stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I want to go to Diagon Alley. I want to ride Splash Mountain. I don't even like Splash Mountain because it scares me because I don't want to get wet. But, like, I would drive back to ride Splash Mountain. I want to go to Hollywood Studios again. I didn't even ride the Tower of Terror on my last day at Studios. I didn't really ride any rides. I went back, kind of did like a last day in most of the parks, and then I would leave and be like, did I ride anything? Because it gets to a point where you ride the rides enough. You've ridden them enough, and it's not that you're bored with them, you just don't feel like a need to ride them. I still want to be there. I want to be where the people are, and I want to feel that atmosphere that's created by the theming and just the people. Just you kind of get used to it, and I never got used to it to the point where I was bored with it, but just I don't need to walk down Main Street and freak peek out because the castle's in front of me, so I can have a seat and just watch other people experience it for the first time. I think I learned, like, this is a profound thing I learned about myself, but Main Street USA is absolutely my very favorite place in the Walt Disney World Resort. I love Main Street USA for precisely that reason, actually. It's just people, when they come in for the first time, they almost always start at Magic Kingdom. You're right there. It's really cute. You see the castle, and it's almost a distraction that the castle's up there, and you want to see, you miss all this stuff on Main Street. But if you just stop and slow down, smell the confectionery, and the Starbucks that I do not object to, because holla Starbucks, it's such a great atmosphere. And then at night when it's all lit up, and just even when you're leaving, like, it's sad, but like, people walk down that street to say goodbye to Disney World. I did that last night. It's a really, and I love the music that's played there. The theming is wonderful. Like, they could just be like Magic Kingdom gift shop, but instead it's like the old-timey emporium and like the confectionery, and it's so sweet. Just all of it. My favorite ride? That's difficult. My favorite thing is the Carousel of Progress, because I love it. It's where my heart lives. I think Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain is really cool. I actually worked at Space Mountain. I should say that. Space Mountain's a great ride, but Big Thunder I just really appreciate. Really good theming. The length of the ride is good. There's a lot to it. The Disney College program is like not real life, really. There's so much about it that I don't know yet because I haven't really been a grown up, but it's just like, in the end, all you really have to do is go to work. Like 5 days a week, you have to spend some of your day at your job. And other than that, you really don't have anything else to do. And that's probably what life is like when you first start out. But you're in such a new environment. You're away from home. You don't have, sounds bad, you don't have like family to go visit. You don't really have any other obligations because you're not well established. And all you have to do is go to work. And so there were days where I would just sleep until I would wake up and go to work. And then I'd come home and go back to sleep. Like, not every day, but the other thing about working in Magic Kingdom as a CP is CPs have the latest hours. You're always closing, and Magic Kingdom is open the latest. It's open much later than the other parks. So you just get in this whole, almost everyone I knew, you go in probably on average at 4 in the afternoon. You get off probably on average 1 or 2. And some people like, anyway, so you get on this thing where, like I said, some people manage to stay on a normal sleep schedule, but I definitely didn't. I just accepted it. And so, you know, I would end up staying up until 4 or 5 in the morning and then sleeping until like 2 in the afternoon. And that's okay. So then you kind of escape the real world. If you've never lived on your own before, it's a good learning experience. I had been away to college. I never lived in an apartment, but it wasn't anything crazy to me. Nothing really mind-blowing. And I had worked a job, and I had never worked 40 hours a week, but I mean, I had 2 jobs and school, and it was probably comparable. So that wasn't like an overwhelming change for me. I remember saying, if this is what being an adult is, then I'm going to be okay. I know eventually it gets harder. Your parents don't pay for most of your things, like your car insurance and your gas, but I do just want to kind of go back, though. So what am I facing ahead, right? I am going back to North Carolina. I'm driving to the Charlotte area right now. I go to school at UNC, Chapel Hill. So I'm going back for my senior year of college, hoping to finish. That would be good. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it. I've spent a lot of time away from college. I don't like college. College is hard. I mean, there's plenty of fun stuff. I do like it. I wouldn't rather be in high school. And then as far as what am I going to do after senior year ends, that's kind of what I'm doing here with the whole kind of video diary-esque thing, is I kind of want to follow this year and see how it goes, see where I end up. If I figure out where I'm going, I feel like I'm not gonna. My plans right now are really vague. I'm a biology major. I've always had in mind a career in healthcare. And there's a special type of nursing degree you can get after you get a bachelor's. You can get your second degree in nursing. It's an accelerated program. And that's a program you can find at tons of nursing schools. I have looked at, like Disney-wise, I've looked at graduate programs in hospitality, recreation, hospitality management, things like that, that if I wanted to go back to the Disney company would be beneficial. It's a possibility. And then I think, for me, a lot of people go to the college program with the intent of staying and working for the company, staying at the theme parks, working their way up. We're not just chilling out and working at the Speedway or something. That wasn't ever really my goal. That being said, doing this program has laid a foundation if I want to go back, or if I don't have anywhere else to go. I'm not sure of any place where I would like get a job, like enter the workforce right out of college. So if I don't manage to get into any schools, or if I do, but I just am, you know, really, I don't know academically how this year's going to be for me. School is tough for me. It's really hard for me to stay motivated. I don't think I'm stupid, I just think I'm lazy, and I think if I have a really tough year academically, I don't know how excited I'll be to go right into nursing school. So I'm hoping to touch base every now and then, check in with how life is going, and a year from now, or at the end of senior year, just kind of see where I've ended up. So I don't know what's going to happen, but this is the end of my college program and the start of my senior year, and I think, at least at first, leaving Disney is going to influence what I do, I guess, because the thing I think I will be doing mostly is missing Disney World and wishing I was at Disney World. I had to go home for one weekend, and I was in Chapel Hill. I was sitting in the library, and I got on Facebook, and I went on the page that like my coworkers had made. So I'm on this Facebook page, and I'm like looking at the picture, like, why am I not at Disney World right now? And I stopped, and I was like, wow, this is my future. Like, this is what senior year is going to be in the library. I'm supposed to be doing some homework, and instead just like yearning for Disney World. We'll see. I don't want it to be like that. I just think that that's very likely. So I guess in summary, I had a wonderful program. So it was hard to leave today. I left my very best friend in the parking lot of a hotel. It's very hard to leave. But with all of my friends leaving, I think it also would have been hard to stay. I mean, could have built new friendships, and I have friends with full-time and part-time people as well, but a lot of what makes it are the people around you, and once they all leave, it's like, I love the Speedway, and I would love to go back and work at the Speedway, but the Speedway is never going to be the way it was when I worked there. Those specific people are never all going to work at that place, ever again, ever, and I'm so lucky that I got to be there for that time. But I think when I'm missing it really hard, it's like, you know what, if you're back there, it would be pretty cool, but it wouldn't be this. And like, if I was just like, no, I want to stay, and just like sat there at Disney World, I would be by myself. Anyway, had a great program, I think. I don't know, maybe like stuff that will happen during my senior year, I will deal with it a certain way because of things I've learned at Disney. Maybe I will cry every day because I miss Disney. I don't know. But this is my senior year. This is the beginning of it, I think. I'm driving home from Disney. I've been there since January. I have to get ready to move into a new apartment. I have to get all ready to take classes again. And then I have to plan for my future. My future. start of it. Right now. Rolling up 95. I think that's all I